Welcome back again, citizens. This is Matt with Madrealm Gaming, and today we're taking a look at trade in 3.11. A lot has changed this patch, and the way you go about trading is about to be flipped on its head. I'm going to explain to you exactly where to go, regardless of your ship, to make money in this patch, and how you should be approaching your trade routes in 3.11. Now, before I get started, I am doing a ship giveaway for an Avenger Titan starter pack to celebrate when I reach my first 500 subscribers. Just make sure you're subscribed to the channel for your chance, and I'm going to announce the results live on stream. Now that we've gotten that out of the way, let's go ahead and get started. There are a few different approaches when it comes to trade in Star Citizen, but the main goal is always the same. Maximize profit while minimizing your chances of loss with the ship that you're given. Whether you have a starter ship or are clearing out trade terminals with a caterpillar, you need to have a well-planned route. As you get more and more used to each patch, you can really get a feel of where and when you should hit certain trade locations, and many people have been finding success in older patches by repeatedly hitting the same trade location over and over in a loop. There's a few problems with this plan of attack now. First, you have the way that servers handle stocking trade resources. You may have noticed if you've stopped at Port Olisar and tried to trade recently that it doesn't let you fill up with medical supplies every time that you're there. Or if you go to Aerial and hit one of those HDMS stations, you can't fill up with Laranite every single time anymore. Sometimes it takes more than one tick to refill as well. This is because the servers are now dynamically handling the supply and demand for certain locations, so we don't have everyone doing the same trade runs over and over at the same two locations constantly, just like we did in patch 3.9. Also, Armistice zones have been reworked, and unless you are somewhere like Everest Harbor, Port Olisar, or a major station, you are at risk of pirates or attack. No more quickly flying into the landing pads and tucking away safely until your enemies leave. You're more vulnerable than ever once you've landed and hit that trade console to fill up your cargo hold. Now the thing is, I find trade is much better in this current patch for several reasons. To start off, servers are running far better than they were in 3.10. I've been playing quite a lot since 3.11 dropped on the live servers, even made enough to give my friend a Cutlass Black, and I haven't experienced a single server crash. Hopefully things are going to stay this way, it's running really nice. Alright, so you're all loaded into the game, you have your Aurora MR or maybe an Avenger Titan from your friendly internet YouTuber subscriber giveaway. If you click that subscriber button, that could be you. And now you're wanting to start buying parts so you can hop into combat or start saving up for your first rental ship. Well, despite what people may say, you actually do have quite a few options with these ships. This is just going to be in case you want to ignore the freelancer and are going for the immersion of trying out your starter ship. So, first off, maximizing profit per unit. Sites like Galog.co are okay for figuring out what prices will be, but with the current resource system, you're not going to want to trust them 100%. Materials like Laranite, medical supplies, and Agricium are very profitable, offering you probably 3 to 4 profit per unit. This means that the most profit you could see with 4 profit per unit in an Avenger Titan is 3,200 credits. Considering you can get this investment with around 20,000 UEC, that's actually a pretty good return on investment, and it's a really easy way to get started with this method. Now, the key to doing this method safely is finding locations that typically are going to have a low supply capacity. That way the larger ships aren't clearing these locations out and usually aren't even coming near them. I'd suggest starting somewhere like Tram & Myers on Salin and Crusader, or Shubin Mining Facility 8 on Calliope and Microtech. You have Sal 5 on Lyria and ArcCorp, and with a starter ship, orbital entry and re-entry is pretty fast, and you can also refuel your ship for minimal cost if you actually need to. Once you've made around 50 to 60k, you can go ahead and rent your first worthwhile ship for 24 hours. I would recommend renting something like a Cutlass Black if you want to start doing more cargo, as the rental price is really cheap, or you could transition to mining by picking up the Prospector. Both are found at Lorville's ship rental terminal, right next to the hangar elevators. Ships that can carry up to 50 cargo units are where you start to make some decent income, pulling in about 20k per trip at most. This makes renting something like a Cutlass Black extremely viable, as it pays for its own rental very quickly. Unlike the starter ships, a Cutlass has loads of missiles, a strong shield, and good weapons loadouts. It has a great turret on top for any friends that may want to tag along. Having a gunner is a great way to fly safer in the verse as well, but it does tend to cut into your profit heavily, so keep that in mind, because you typically do have to pay your gunner. Alternatively, you can use the loaner freelancer you're granted for testing purposes. This has a larger SCU capacity than the Cutlass Black, can take a little more of a beating, and you don't have to rent it to lose profits. Much like the starter ships can easily enter and exit atmosphere, things like the Cutlass Black and the Freelancer do a great job at this as well. This means quick pickup and drop off, plus less time spent in atmosphere in a potential pirate's sights. Places that I do recommend running ships of this size: you've got McGrath on Clio, out in Microtech, Sal 5 on Lyria, again, ArcCorp. You have Deacon's Research Center on Yela in Crusader. These places should allow you to almost, if not completely, fill something like a Cutlass or a Freelancer. And in the case that you have some extra space left over, you can always fill up on the next best trade material there. This is typically going to be diamond, titanium, astatine, sometimes distilled spirits, maybe it's stems. It's always better to finish filling up on something with a lower profit margin than waste that space on your return trip. Now we're talking about our larger ships, those that can carry over 100 cargo units, up to 500 cargo units. This includes the Freelancer Max, the Constellation ships, Caterpillars, Carracks. These are the traders most heavily impacted by how server-side resources are tracked. These are the traders who take the most risk when filling up a hold. These are also the traders who are prime targets for pirates with the really heavy hardware. Oftentimes it can be worth paying to have a co-pilot or even just a wingman to escort you from location to location. But this guide's about maximizing on that profit safely, not spending it for safety. This leads to one of my favorite tactics, that not only has led to more successful runs with less piracy, but also allows me to enjoy all of the different locations that we often pass over when looking for trade routes, or, following the same path from Galog.co. I call it basically trade hopping. It's nothing new, but that's what I like to do. The idea is simple. You map out a long track and plan on making as many stops as possible on the way. For example, let's say I'm starting in Microtech. I'm going to grab a load of medical supplies on my way from Rayari Cantwell on Clio. Fly it to ArcCorp. Yeah, New Babbage is closer, but I'm running the risk of someone else on the server hitting that refresh before I return. This happens far more frequently than you would think. Not only does it cost an extra 10 minutes of waiting for the supply to refresh, but you're in a total standstill. On top of that, now you know someone is also likely turning in that load at New Babbage. And I've had many more times where I couldn't sell my whole cargo load for a tick. That's 2 10-minute ticks that you've sat through now. Lost time is lost profit. And the time it would take for both of those refreshes to complete, I've flown to ArcCorp, landed, and I'm on my way to Walla to pick up a load of Laranite, which I'm going to take back to somewhere like New Babbage or Loreville, and just keep doing things like that. Finding a place to consistently fill your hold when you are maxing out profits on a Carrack or Caterpillar can be very unreliable, so this is why I now use this tactic of flying from location to location. It not only allows me to better learn the locations I have better chances of filling up, it also helps you with learning multiple fill-ups, such as Area 45 and Area 48 on Walla. I like to go to Area 45, hit that first, grab some Laranite, and usually it's going to give me between 100 to 200 Laranite. I can fly over to Area 48, fill up the rest of my hold, and if not, typically there's going to be something like titanium or diamond, depending on where I'm going. This is a great way, again, to maximize the amount of time that you're taking. I'm not encountering many pirates when I do this, and most of those pirates are hanging out at the high traffic areas, the places that they know trade routes are being ran. Alright, so what are the key takeaways from this? First, make sure that you're varying up your locations so that you're not only keeping the prices low, maximizing your profit, but you're also not draining the supply from the same location over and over again. We have an issue where people seem to think that there's always just a couple good locations that you can trade at, and they always hit them over and over and over again, but you're tanking the value. Stop doing it. Second, you can make money on pretty much any cargo ship in the game, but you have to make sure that you're really diligent about it and that you're checking your prices. It's a little harder with the smaller ships, but you can very quickly work your way up to those medium ships, or you can use your loaner Freelancer. Don't forget that. So with all that said, thank you for sticking around to the end. If you liked the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for your chance at an Avenger Titan and more videos like this. Leave a comment down below if you have one. Thank you again, citizens, and I hope to see you in the verse.